All right. So we join our heroes in a very noisy banquet hall. All right, let me zoom in a little bit to the top corner so you guys can kind of see a little bit more clearly what's going on up here. All right, so here you can see all the nobles. Here is Radovan. Here is Kia. Marlowe is under the table. And Raisa was in the throes of she'd been grabbed by Raisa. And here is the fellow that approached her, and after he pushed Kieliana away. So yes, we pick things up with as he's like, Do I know you?
What's that, Marlowe? And I'm gonna dive under the table. Excuse me! Excuse me. Or, like, one moment! Sorry, Marlowe, what?
Alright.
Okay, being even more puzzled by this, he said, look, he turns around to the gentleman to his left, he says, apparently I must. I wasn't sure, but what's suspicious behavior? Young woman, as he peers and looks under the table.
Okay, before he gets down there, when she came under the table with me,
I'm going to turn the chatter down. It is supposed to be loud, but it's a little louder than it needs to be, I think, because I don't know that people can hear us very well.
I do feel like I'm shouting over them.
Well, technically you should be, but that's better. Okay.
I'm going to pull out my peculiar hairpin, and I'm going to push Race's hood back, wrap her hair up in a bun with the pin, and explain to her how to use the magic pin.
Okay. Then you better do that.
Yeah. What?
Go ahead and explain to her how to use the magic pin.
Well, it's just a pin of disguise.
Yeah. Is it a pin or is it a hat?
It said that it could be a comb or any sort of hair accessory.
Okay,
I mean,
so
it's specifically called a hat of disguise, but
okay, but you're using yours as a.
It's a hair, yeah, like a chopstick,
that's fair.
Basically.
Yeah, basically, you put it, you wear it, and it can change your physical appearance to pretty much anything within reason. It can't change sex, but it can change your physical appearance, so you could look human, you could look elvish, you could look anything, and it allows you to go. You can be a little bit shorter or a little bit taller, but it doesn't allow you to completely train. You can't change from like a 6-foot person down to a 1-foot pixie, but generally speaking, it's just like a really awesome disguise.
So I just think it and it happens?
Basically, there's a command word, but obviously she's telling you what that is because she's explaining to you how to use it.
Okay.
Didn't even know there was a command word, to be honest.
Well, yeah, just about anything like that, usually there is a command word associated to it. But you would have known that because it's yours and you've used it.
Okay, so I think then being very hasty and like freaking out, I know that I can't change my appearance too drastically, so I'm going to just alter my face enough so that I kind of look the same, but not distinguishable as.
Okay. So you're not going to go for anything drastic, just literally a facial change.
Yeah, just maybe I guess you could say like humanize more and exaggerate something to make it look so that I do not look like who he thinks I do.
All right. Okay.
And then I'll stand up and I'll say, "Terribly sorry, my friend, she dropped something, but no, hello."
Contact fell out. That's fine.
He says,
Yeah.
kind of looks at you rather befuddled. He said, "Oh, so that's GM roll." Looking rather, he goes, I have an amazing knack for recognizing faces, and I could swear that you didn't look like that when you went under that table.
Oh, strange.
The light in here isn't particularly, brilliant, so maybe it was a change of the light. I don't know.
if I might ask, did you think that we had met before? Do I recognize him at all when I look at him?
No.
Okay.
He says, no, but as I said, I never forget a face, and I thought I recognized you from many years back in the past. As I said, I obviously I'm clearly mistaken. I do apologize.
Oh, by no means.
Yes, anyway, thank you so much for going on this, errand of mercy for the city. I greatly appreciate your efforts, and I hope you every avenue of success.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, good day. And he kind of still rather puzzled and bewildered turns around and begins to walk away, glancing back at you a second time as he leaves. The fellow that was next to him kind of walks with him. As he walks away, he goes, Carlafell, I swear I recognized her. He said, still, never mind. Pay me no mind. And they kind of move their way past everybody and return to their seats.
I'm gonna lean in under the table and say, Marlo, you gonna stay down there all night?
Oh, well, no, I got back up.
Okay.
Alrighty.
That could have gone worse.
Well, you get a slew of people basically shaking your hands, congratulating you. Most of it seems to be ingenuous from a lot of them. Like, oh, well done. It almost seems like the majority of them seem to be saying thank you because they were pretty much told to by the king. A few of them, on the other hand, do seem genuinely interested in your success and your well-being and seem to be quite pleasant individuals.
Well, the group that's around me, I'm going to be talking about our wonderful adventures. I'm going to be saying things, now they're leaving, so apparently it's not too interesting.
I'm bored already.
No, I mean, I'm just
I was
putting
talking
them back.
about the wyvern.
Okay.
The wyvern swooped from the mountainside and tore my tower shield to shits. That's what I'm going to be saying. When
I would probably
they
tell
finish
people
their
about the
stuff.
rust monster and how you threw a potion and I don't even remember what happened.
It was
And nor does she care.
It was a potion of suicide, Kia. A potion of suicide that I poured on my gauntlet and threw at that
Oh, that's what it was.
antler-wielding creature. Anteater of rust and metal.
There you go.
Well, everyone's gone.
Okay, but no, I mean,
Apparently
they
we're
don't leave
terrible
until after you
storytellers.
regale them of your tales. And I mean, you hold their interest for probably a good 40, 50 minutes.
Okay, good.
Wow.
See, I can tell a good story, ladies.
Ladies.
Hello, ladies. Alrighty. After that, the evening begins to wear on.
Do we have a person here who's joined our table?
Nope, get out of here, dude.
Okay, cool.
You're not welcome.
I do have a wondering. When I sit back down, do I recognize Raisa?
No. She looks nothing like Raisa. She's exactly the same height and build, but facially looks nothing like her.
Okay, so I'm going to lean over the table and it's like, I had plenty more stories to tell, but maybe you should rejoin your own table, you know?
Radovan.
What? Well, we're going to be talking business here. What?
Radovan, it's me.
What?
I'll explain later. It's Raisa.
Okay,
I'm
as you're
gonna
having
look
this
again.
discussion, you notice that Tadros has gotten up and is walking down the stairs with his eyes looking at you people. He slowly kind of moves in and comes to the side of the table here. At which point he leans in and says, we're about to adjourn to the king's study. He would like you to come and meet somebody, Mr. Rainier. Ladies, by all means, please continue to enjoy the festivities.
Oh, this is that Gaston individual, correct?
Have fun, Radovan.
Apparently so, yes.
Apparently.
I'm gonna stand up, nod at him, and look again at Raisa
Yeah.
and just be like, you are wearing what she was wearing. Okay.
You didn't
I'm
have
just gonna
anything to drink, Radaman. You're okay.
I'm just gonna turn and just follow Tadros.
Alrighty. Well, he heads back up to the king's table and leans in and says something to him, and then he begins to walk down the center. Shortly afterwards, the king and the queen, walking arm in arm, come down, the prince behind them, and then you're aware of this large fellow in plate mail with his two young, what look like some kind of apprentice priests, following him.
I love those icons. I can't get enough of them. Am I going to be walking alongside Tadros? Is that what he wants? Because
Pretty much, yep.
okay, because I'm inclined not to be walking in front of the king. Gets me a little nervous, but I am going to follow through.
All right. Well, they head all the way down to the end of the room, exit from the left. They go into the main throne room that you've seen before, and down through a familiar door to the right. Let's join you in that chamber. 1 second. You don't get to be here, dude. All right. And
Gore the
here you
bouncer.
go, Relevant. All right, let me go ahead and kill the chatter, because this room is considerably more quiet. All right. As you enter the chamber, Tadros nods politely to the king, and the king says, "Yes, well, Radovan, I'd like you to meet somebody. May I introduce Gaston Calaris of the Topaz Order."
Calaris. Nice to meet you, sir. I'm going to give a little short bow.
Okay. He walks straight over and thrusts out a firm, gauntlet-clad right hand, as if to shake yours.
Radovan Rainier.
Okay, he goes right past your arm and like grabs you by the forearm and gives it a firm, solid shake.
Okay.
And he says, "Gaston Calaris, at your service."
Oh, there's been a mistake. I am at your service.
He says, "Yes, well, I think all of us here are at the service of the gods that we represent. And, of course, the king." He said,
God-
"I am
for
a
God and
priest."
king.
He said, "Yes, I am a priest of Howreroll. I understand that you are a Cuthbertarian.
Yes, I am.
Indeed, our religions have strong allies."
Oh, God.
Even the Pelorians. That is correct.
He said,
But I'm-
"Even the Pelorians." He said, "Ah, yes." As he kind of like, at this point, he kind of looks behind him, and without saying anything, immediately the two non-armor-clad individuals walk up behind him. He says, "These are initiates of mine." He said, "Even though I represent the Topaz Order, I still stand in truth for Howreroll. And, well, our shrine here has been somewhat neglected of late. These two will be, tending it while I tend to more military matters."
I have been at the where the shrines are kept in the capital. There's definitely neglect. I've spent many afternoons in front tending to the people.
Okay, at this point he turns and says, "You see? Even esteemed priests such as us still tend the smaller shrines. No matter your position, no matter your rank, and no matter your standing, it is still expected of you that you should take care of all religious icons, take care of all shrines and all churches belonging to not just your god, but those that we are allied with. Now tomorrow, you shall both begin your duties tending the shrine, administering to the sick, and listening to people's prayers." Anyway, and he kind of like then just immediately snaps round to look at you.
Straighten up.
Our good king here mentioned that you are somewhat diplomatic. And also clearly one of Cuthbert's more physically orientated priests.
I have traveled the world on St. Cuthbert's order and will, seen many places, met many people. Diplomacy's not always come easy to me, cultural differences aside, but I have done my best, most recently in Sorrowmorn, trying to bring that city back up to snuff, that village, if you will.
He kind of moves in beside you and puts his right arm around you and grabs hold of your shoulder. He stands about the same height as you, so you're both pretty big dudes. He says, I have something to discuss with you, Mr. Rainier. Why don't you come and sit down at this table? And he comes over here and pulls the chair out. It's pretty obvious to you that this guy must have some pull, because he's treating the king's chamber like his own, and he's acting as if he seems. I mean, obviously he's here and he's paying the proper respects to the king, but the king seems to pretty much allow him free reign of whatever it is that he's doing.
Okay, I'm going to nervously sit down, casting a glance back at the king to hope everything's in order and nothing's being violated.
Okay, when you look at him, almost as an act of reassurance, he says, Hear the man out, Radovan. I believe that he may know the answer to your more, shall we say, relevant calling in these matters.
Whatever Cuthbert wills.
He says,
I'm my king.
Well, I know what I will, but even a king is not egotistical enough to believe his will goes above that of the gods. But,
Marcus.
God willing, or in your case, Cuthbert willing, maybe he will bless this and set you on this path, but we will see. Anyway, I leave you in the capable hands of Gaston Calares. Come, boy, let's get back to the feast. At which point the king exits along with the prince. These two go and sit down politely in front of the fireplace, doing their best to ignore your presence and the presence of Gaston, not as in a rude way, but as in, this is none of our business, we're not supposed to be involved. Tadros begins to leave also. As he does so, he kind of walks, kind of swoops in a little closer, leans in and says, Good luck. And then he also exits the chamber. He says, So, Radovan, are you familiar with the Topaz Order?
I heard tales of it from my stepfather.
As well you might! No more prestigious order of Templars of the religious sects of Heronius, St. Cuthbert, and Pelor are there in Arconus.
I admit to not having heard much, though. My stepfather was a drunk and, well, I'll be completely frank, a failure in many regards. Excommunicated by the Church of Cuthbert.
Well, I trust that you don't possess any of his ill qualities.
No longer. I've been walking on straight and true for the past year and a half, 2 years.
Well, good. May I inquire why only in the last 2 years?
Well, bad habits have a way of passing from father to son or stepfather to stepson.
Ah, so what was it, lad? The whores? Drink?
The drink.
Swearing?
It was the drink. I still swear aplenty, sir, but out of respect, of course. It was the drink. But I've been sober for the past year and a half.
Some demons are harder to destroy than with just simple steel, I understand. As long as you're on the right path now, that's all that interests me.
That I am. I believe to be. I try my best from sunrise to sunset and a little later.
Well, besides, it's not unknown for me to knock back a few totties around the military camp with the men. In fact, I encourage it. It offers a sense of camaraderie and helps earn their trust, which is imperative if you're going to join the Topaz Order.
I will keep that in mind, sir.
So I understand that recently you had an incident with the Hans Plains tribe. Somehow you were responsible for the chief's daughter's death, and yet managed to convince him that he should accept this and let you go on your way. Quite an amazing feat, to be honest.
In truth, it was circumstance that aided in that diplomacy, that conversation. For the Drakhar Yankee were posing a greater threat further to the northeast.
Yes, I've been made very aware of these Drakharians, or whatever they're called, and the army that we're about to go to war against.
Yes, I use them as necessary leverage to return to the king and tell him of what we have discovered and seen.
I see.
Also, while attempting to get them to join our cause, or at the very least, get out of dangers, the way of danger that they were in. The Harns Plains area was unsafe at that moment. So
How did they
traveled
make
to the
you
west.
feel when you saw them? These Drakharians.
Scared.
Scared? Full
They
of
had
fear?
with them a giant dragon. A dragon in the sky is something I've never seen before. The closest I've ever come is a wyvern.
I myself have only battled twice with a dragon.
Well, it was the first time for me, so I initially was scared, but I was also resolute in needing to inform the king and the kingdoms of what needed to be done.
And this is precisely why I'm interested. You see, the Topaz Order tends to be a very select few. Not many people seem to possess the qualities that we need. Those qualities being a stout heart, the cunning of a fox, and the ability to convince people that the sky is blue, in fact, when it is red. He said, the ability to lead men at arms against overwhelming, uncertain odds and their inevitable death.
I see.
It is men such as this that we are going to need in this battle. For mark my words, from what I understand, and I understand what the king has said to many, and I understand that as always, he shows bravery and certainty of victory. I can tell you the adversaries that we are up against are far greater than the armies of Arconis have ever stood against.
Well, this war is something that I have been preparing for since seeing the army and the dragon. And I have pledged already to the king that I will be wherever he needs me to be in service of victory. And for victory.
So you have pledged your service to the king. You have pledged your service previously to St. Cuthbert. Yes. I ask you now, are you willing to pledge your services to the Topaz Order? Do not take this undertaking lightly. For as a member of the Topaz Order, you will be expected to stand on the front lines, to charge into battle regardless of the forces at hand, regardless of the difficulty and the adversary. As men fall around you, you will be a shining beacon. You will stand for all men. You will charge headfirst into the jaws of the beast if necessary to spur these men on. You will heal the wounded. You will tend to the sick. But above this, you will do this on the front lines, leading by example. You will no longer be a hospitaller, loitering at the back of the camp, taking care of the wounded. You will be there in the thick of it, amongst the knights, amongst the simple common men.
Sir Kalari?
Oh, I'm no knight, so sir is not a title that I deserve.
I will just have you know that I have lived my life as a Cuthbertarian, Jesus.
Who's this Jesus?
Performing
Is he not one of the other gods?
Jesus, Cuthbert, performing that duty already. I have been on many adventures around this world with a party that required me to be on the front lines. So I cannot see myself being anywhere else.
And if this were not the case, I would not be talking to you today. Now, for the rest of this evening, this chamber is yours. The king has agreed to allow you to stay here in solitude and pray to your god St. Cuthbert. Pray to the cudgel for his guidance. Come the morrow, if you feel that this is indeed your calling, you shall recite the oath. You will make the pledge and swear your lifelong service to the Topaz Order. Forever becoming a war priest of the Topaz Order.
Thank you, and I will do just that.
He kind of stands up, walks over, shakes your hand once again,
I stand up too, the second he does.
and then this time kind of goes over more quietly between his two and says, "Come along. We need to leave this man to his prayers. He has a great choice ahead of him, one that will undoubtedly change his remaining days forever." At which point he gets up and marches straight out the door without another word, with his two lackeys behind him. Meanwhile, out in the banquet hall, let's go back to our ladies. Alright, so back at your table, obviously Radovan has left the chamber with said people, but shortly after that, the king, the queen, the prince, in fact, everybody return. Without Radovan. He is nowhere to be seen.
So before Radovan gets back, I would have liked to have asked Book something, or Marlowe something.
Right, well we're going to give you guys the opportunity to do whatever you want to do, because he's not coming back for a long time. So, but you mean before the king and all of them get back?
Yeah, like we would
Okay.
probably would have been chatting before.
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I mean, they're gone about 15 minutes. So let's, as I say, this is your opportunity to do exactly that. Okay, so after the king, the queen, the priests, and the prince and the vizier, including Radovan, leave, what do you guys want to discuss? Go right ahead.
Marlowe.
I'm muted. Yeah.
How long does this last?
Oh my god, I've gone deaf!
I don't think it has a limit. I've never had to use it for a long time.
If you don't mind, I think it's probably safer if I stay this way until we're out of the kingdom.
No problem.
I need to ask you though, Reza.
Yeah.
Is it your intention for your father to never know who you are?
Well, the vizier strongly advised against it, and if there's one thing I was taught, it's you listen to the vizier.
Fine. I just feel like I just don't want you to hide your entire life. I feel like you just need to do this. Let him know sometime. It doesn't need to be, it could be after the war even, if we survive.
Well,
But
we'll
I don't
see,
think you
but
should hide your entire life.
I think the vizier said it for a reason. They know everything. And honestly, I kind of got the vibe that I wouldn't exist very long if he found out. And I'm not ready to die.
Well, why don't you come out of the disguise? Because whoever thought they knew you is gone, so...
I don't
The
think it's
king
safe,
could-
honestly. Especially if the king's going to be coming and talking with us, and who knows what Radovan's up to, and... I'm sure if he actually looks at me, he's going to see my mom. And we don't need the questions right now.
I just think you should face it. I don't know. It's your decision.
Yeah, I appreciate your boldness, but I'm not so bold.
What have you got
Well-
on your face, Spook?
It's a icy hot patch for arthritis pain.
You have nose arthritis?
I have no smell coming into my nose right now, so
That's a good thing. Oh, I see. It's not for the nose arthritis. It's to keep the cat smell away.
yep.
Oh, I feel so bad for you. I really do.
Not for Cal.
All right,
Alright.
Raisa, if you say so.
I just
Okay.
think it's the best move for now.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a time and a place for everything, and now doesn't really seem the time.
I'm not sure there'll ever be a time for her to tell the king that she's his bastard daughter.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kia.
Well, when you put it that way.
Okay. All of you make a listen check.
Oh, shit.
Kia says, sorry, that came out terribly. I did mean it like that.
Racer, as she says the bastard daughter
Oh,
of the king,
shit.
you hear the guard who is standing directly behind you, only about 10 feet, go,
What?
No, you bastard.
I didn't realize there were people.
yeah, he is exactly 11 feet
Oh,
away,
God.
and you weren't whispering. So that close, there's a good chance he overheard
And we're done
everything you
practicing for our play. Well done, everybody.
The
You got your
bastard
lines
child
down
of
really
the
well,
king.
Raisa.
So I'm just gonna kind of lean towards her. And
There's
say,
my
"Kia,
roll. I accidentally
I
typed it
am
into Twitch
pretty
chat
sure.
the first time. So.
So yeah, you heard the come out of
Yeah.
his mouth as well. At this point, you notice that the guard is standing there holding his crossbow.
Kia, maybe you should suggest that he didn't hear that.
Good idea. Shit. Excuse me, guard over there. Is he looking at me?
He is not looking at you. He is deliberately looking
Okay,
away
well
from
he
you.
can. I know you can hear me, and I'm going to suggest that you forget everything I said within the past 2 minutes.
All right. Let's see. Okay. He says, kind of just glances at you out of the corner of his eye and says, "Whatever you say, ma'am."
Good day. I'm gonna
And
turn
carries
around.
on,
Oh, if it worked.
looking rather confused and bewildered.
Jeez. I could double spell him. I could charm him. Do you want me to charm him?
I think you better be careful what you say from now on.
Okay. Sorry, Raisa.
All
How long has Radovan been gone?
I don't know. 10 minutes?
Yeah, probably
You think he's okay?
15 minutes or so. The others have came back.
You don't think they were disguised and like killed him while they were in there, right? Like, you think it was really the king? Because like,
No. He's clearly safe. It's the king. Everyone trusts the king. Except me.
Is the vizier back yet?
They are all back except Radovan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we'd probably be quiet for the rest of the time, honestly.
Okay. It's clear to you that the guard behind you is noticeably uncomfortable. His feet are shuffling a lot.
Shit.
He
Okay.
doesn't seem at all happy at this point. Of course, he's done nothing except stand there, just like every other guard, but he doesn't seem to be, he's noticeably fidgety.
what was said to him now? I mean, I know he overheard, but
Basically, the conversation that you guys had pretty much enlightened him to the fact that Raisa was the illegitimate daughter of the king. Without too much of glory detail, but that was the thing that made him gasp. You did just have a conversation. Is that really the king? Did he just murder, or was it an imposter that murdered Radovan? And then Kia said, albeit very quietly, so he may not have heard that, everybody should trust the king except me, or something on those lines.
do you know what I really hate? People who eavesdrop and can't keep secrets. I
Okay.
could kill bastards like that
Oh my god.
with my bare hands.
At that point, he noticeably turns and scowls directly at you.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna grin. And do a little wave.
Okay, you see him kind of... And then instead of being awkward, he seems to have a bit of a smirk on his
Oh,
face
no.
instead. Alrighty, well, we're going to take a break right there because it is time.